Merchant of Venice is the story of a merchant called Antonio who owes some money to a spiteful moneylender, Shylock. Antonio takes this money for his friend Bassanio so that the latter can court a lady named Portia and marry her. When his trading ships were wrecked, Antonio was not able to pay his loan back. Hence, Shylock demands to have a pound of Antonio's flesh for repayment, as was mentioned in the contract. However, during the trial in court, Portia, who is present there dressed as a man, is able to save Antonio. Hence, Shylock is asked to convert to Christianity and Antonio has his wealth restored from his ships. The Merchant of Venice plot opens with Antonio, who is a Venetian Christian merchant, sitting in a state of depression. All his friends try to cheer him up but fail to do so. Finally, Antonio is greeted by one of his dear friend Bassanio, who wants to borrow some money from Antonio. However, Antonio has all his money tied up on his ships. Unable to provide his friend with a direct loan, Antonio decides to approach Shylock, a Jewish moneylender, for taking the loan in Antonio's name. Shylock decides to waive the interest in the loan but states a very unusual condition. Should Antonio fail to pay the money back, Shylock will be entitled to a pound of Antonio's flesh. Antonio happily signs the contract of the loan. This is a part of the Merchant of Venice explanation which shows how Antonio is willing to help his friend out. Bassanio is given the money and then he visits Portia to marry her in Belmont. Portia remains unmarried because of her father's strange test for the men who want to marry her. The men are asked to choose between 3 caskets made of lead, silver, and gold. One amongst these caskets has Portia's picture in it. The man choosing the right casket will be allowed to marry her. Several princes failed to choose the right one according to the Merchant of Venice plot. In the next part of the Merchant of Venice analysis, Bassanio arrives in Belmont and chooses the right casket. He is allowed to marry Portia while Graziano, Bassanio's companion, decides to marry Nerissa, who is Portia's friend. Upon receiving a message regarding Antonio's failure to repay the loans, both Bassanio and Graziano leave for Belmont. Portia provides them with 6,000 ducats so that they can repay the loan and save Antonio. Shortly after their departure, the ladies Portia and Nerissa plan to dress themselves up as men and follow their suitors to Venice. Antonio is arrested and brought to the Duke of Venice for a trial. In the next act of Lidchart's Merchant of Venice, Portia and Nerissa arrive in the court dressed as the doctor of law that everyone was waiting for in order to give the results of the trial. She pleads with Shylock to forgive Antonio, but Shylock states the authenticity of the contract and refuses to take money from Bassanio on behalf of Antonio. Portia agrees but states that Shylock can have the pound of flesh without making Antonio bleed since it is not written anywhere in the contract. Caught in his own tricks, Shylock is forced to let go of the loan and turn to Christianity to pay for his evil deeds. All is well at the end and Antonio's wealth is restored as well.